right. We are about to go live in a minute. All right, this is Jamil Saleeves of me out of Manning, South Carolina. Sincerely thanking everyone for tuning in to this installment of the 19 Report. As promised, we would come back to you with more commentary on the subject of fentanyl abuse, and what we are about to face in society unexpectedly. I want to say that in bigger towns and sometimes in smaller towns next to bigger cities, things happen way ahead of time, and they happen years and years in advance. So the drug crisis, the drug epidemic, from fentanyl to heroin to oxycodone and all the others, morphine, those things are happening in these cities, from New Orleans to Florida to Atlanta, Alabama, Kentucky, Texas, Chicago, and places like that. This is already happening. It doesn't take a blind man to see, really, that epidemic is going to come to a freshly untouched, untapped market, what they would call a virgin market. And it doesn't take a blind man to see that, because our children are so influential, so easily influenced, because we're in the middle of everything, and we're in a position where we're influenced to do everything. Peer pressure controls us. We're the wannabe generation here in South Carolina. Very dangerous. Unfortunately, there is rarely a comeback from fentanyl abuse. Again, fentanyl is used as a tranquilizer for bigger animals. Fentanyl is used as a painkiller for people in hospice, people suffering from terminal cancer, terminal diseases, that they're going to die. The fentanyl just literally takes them out of their mind until they die. That's what the fentanyl does. But when you are alive and walking around and addicted to fentanyl, then you are a walking zombie. And when you become addicted to fentanyl or anything of that sort, it starts out differently. And it will start out with marijuana. Then the marijuana will be laced with the fentanyl, and then you're going to start snorting it, then you're going to start smoking it, and then you're going to be addicted to it. And popping, of course, unfortunately, prescription medication that is provided by people who have the prescription, who are selling the pills, unbeknownst to them what that pill is doing. I'm not here to break up your connect or any of that. I'm here to talk to, God willing, a younger generation, or maybe the older generation, who will one day reflect back and say, yeah, I messed up my life, but I will not allow another group of my people or any people, because this drug does not discriminate across any color line. It's destroying everything. So I thank you all for tuning in today. This is part 5. I hope you'll stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about today. We won't take very long. You can join us on YouTube. I hope that you will join us on our YouTube page at The 19 Report or / Johnny Wilson. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page, because we are members, have a membership with YouTube and a partnership. And we will be able to offer, for your donations, we will be able to offer you perks that others won't get. You'll be able to see private broadcasts that I am allowed to broadcast only on YouTube, that others won't see, can't see, unless they purchase the DVD or purchase the USB. You'll be able to get be the first to receive for free some of our selective custom gear. No Ego, No I in Team, Overachiever, Strive, Wabi Sabi. You can see some of them back there on the back shelf back there. We are really pushing the idea of independence. We're pushing the idea of small business, and we're pushing the idea of all colors supporting black business, because we support white business every day. We just don't say it. Now we need their support, period. That's all to it. So we're hoping to do that. I have on my garb, for those of you who are Christians, when you go to first Sunday, fifth Sunday, seventh Sunday, or whatever, you all have on these big hats, Mother's Day big hats, all these crazy and beautiful designs on your clothing. This outfit is no different than that. This is called a prayer garb. You can call it a thabi or something. They have different names for it. But I'm coming out of prayer because I really feel very bad today. So I'm coming out of prayer, and I kept on my prayer garb. This is the star and the crescent. and the writing on it is Shahada. When you take your Shahada, you bear witness there is but one God, and that you share your life, your entire life will be to teach the uncivilized, the same as Jesus did. It's the job of the civilized to teach the uncivilized. That's the same thing. So that's all this is. That is a star and a crescent, the star in the sky and the crescent in the sky, a half moon. And that's what it is. So don't get spooked out by what I have on. I never ask you to join anything. Definitely not to join what I believe. But this is a generalized knowledge that we must begin to share with each other. If you go back in my topics on our page, we talk about homosexuality. We talk about protecting homosexuals. We talk about any topic you can think about. We talk about sex. We talk about race. We talk about empathy. We talk about emotions. We cover everything. So don't put us in a little box, okay? I wanted to say that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in on Instagram. I know it's football day. I don't expect anyone to be on, and I think I might like it that way, just so I can keep my word to Almighty God and to myself and continue on with this struggle, because we're in trouble. Unfortunately, we don't see trouble until it's right on our doorstep. So thank you for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir. After this intro, we will be right back. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions. Okay, we're back. We're live. Thank you for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. I want to apologize to everyone on Facebook and maybe even YouTube. Again, they're blocking my feeds. They told me straight up, we're going to block you here, we're going to block you there, and we're going to block you over here, but we'll let you come through over here. So most of my stuff, believe it or not, you can see it in China, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain, places like that, but you can't see it here. And the only way you'll be able to see it here is if you grab my feed off of Facebook or wherever it is on YouTube or off social media and share it. And share it and share a link to it. If you find that what we're saying is of value, then share the information. I thank you so much for that. Again, God raises people in certain places for a particular reason. We're going to go into the subject today. I watched 3 documentaries last night. One of them disturbed me so bad I didn't get much sleep. It's a documentary from 1986, Special Report, The Vanishing Black Family. The Vanishing Black Family. And from 1986 to 2022, the views have not changed. In short, the drugs, the violence, the gangs, all in 1986, all were there. The Reverend Jesse Jackson and many others were trying to fight the issue, but we're still right where we started. Still. And as I look at this book called Bible from start to finish, I realize that the book of Revelation is saying that we're still right where we started. From Genesis, from being exiled from holiness to Revelations, where God says you all will not change. I'm just going to have to kill all of you. This is where we are. We're in the stage of plagues where the male children are being taken away. They don't care. How can you teach a person that doesn't care? As a person with morals and standards and a love for your people, and you sit there and watch them dying over nothing. Shots, guns, drugs, violence, murder. You see it, and you know it's happening, and you know why it's happening, but they don't know. So I want to play this little piece. It's very short. We're talking about fentanyl. All of this is related to peer pressure, fentanyl, drug abuse. Fentanyl is the last drug. Manufactured drugs will be what will destroy our race. It started with genetically modified marijuana. When we sold it, it was called Reggie. It had seeds. We could plant the seeds and grow it in our backyard if we wanted to. They called that homegrown. You got that homegrown weed. But now you cannot do that because you have to know how to grow it genetically. Same thing has happened to the food. Genetics, no seeds in the food hardly anymore. So that means we are raising a genetically modified generation of zombies. You understand it later. It's spoken of in the Bible over and over and over again. That's why prophets and messengers are sent to get the people back on track. So I want to play this little clip. 1986, special report. They're talking about black people on the news. Let me play this real quick and listen to what the women are saying about black men and look at black women today, young girls today. Listen very close.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
Okay, there you have it. Male figures are not substantially important in a family. That's the mindset of young girls. That girl was 15 years old. We get back on that's the mindset of a 15-year-old girl, and that's in 1986. And that's still the mindset of our young black girls today. They don't need no man. Man don't have to be in the picture. Total destruction of the family. And that leads to a male child needing guidance, and depending who that guidance comes from, the streets will snatch him up. So we're going to get started today. We're not going to take very long, but I want to start with this. This book called Bible teaches us everything we want to know if we read it properly. Jesus had to fight peer pressure all of his life. Before he was born, someone was trying to kill him. And every day of his life, he had to prove that he was who he said he was. And if he didn't stand on his deen, if he didn't stand on the truth of who he say he was, then someone else would have pulled him into their world. They tried over and over and over and even threatened him with death. If you do not capitulate and believe as we believe, we will kill you. I'm coming to a point. Our children are being brainwashed into being violent. Violence is easy. I don't know if it's true or not, but I trust the person that told me. The first time you kill a person, yeah, you have anxiety. But the second time you kill a person, it becomes easier and easier. Around the third time, you actually get pleasure from killing. You are a sociopath, a psychopath around that time. So when you pull a trigger to shoot somebody, you get away with it the first time, you get away with it the second time. The third time, you'll shoot up a whole house. It don't matter. You kill a child, a dog, a grandmama, a mama, your own mama. We're talking about fentanyl, but I'm talking about peer pressure and how worlds collide. And they will collide. Our children who are trying to do right will be influenced by the power of those doing wrong. I'll tell you a story. Somebody sent me a request to talk about gangs in South Carolina. And the reason that in Manning, and the reason they sent me the request is because on their way from school, someone started a fight with him, and he whipped the fella. The next day he was coming through the path to go home. There were about 12 people there ready to whip him because they were more powerful than him. My point, you do not have a chance to defend yourself against the pressures of this world if we allow it to continue going left. And the more our children desire to do wrong, there is always a drug that is introduced to numb their pain. Heroin used to be the drug of choice for drive-by shootings in California. You do some black tar heroin, you high, you out of your mind, you'll kill anybody. You don't care. That's your trial, you take it. But fentanyl, synthetic, made in a laboratory, specifically designed to attach itself to the pleasure centers in the brain and hold on to them immediately. Within 2 seconds, you got the high you looking for. But it will not turn you loose. So now we got all these single mothers. I'm coming to a point with peer pressure. We got all these single mothers who got to work. There are no after-school programs. You try to get your males in church every Sunday, but they feel like being at church is a weak person is at church. Punks are at church. I felt that way coming out. I didn't want to be in no church. I don't care about that. My children felt the same way, and I had them in the mosque. They didn't want to be there. I was the study group coordinator. They did not want to be there. And while I was teaching them Islam, they were gangbanging. So here you are, mother. I don't need no man. And the next thing you know, your child, through peer pressure, joins a gang. Of course, with gangs come drugs. Of course, with gangs come the obligation to go after your opposition. Of course, if they shoot, you shoot back. Of course, if they find out where you live, regardless of who's in the house, they're going to shoot at you. And if you get hit, the baby get hit, the dog get hit, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Why is it important to talk about peer pressure? Because peer pressure is what's going to cause a larger group of our people within the next 5 months to either be shot or die. And die from violence and die from drug abuse. Because from 12 years old in Manning, South Carolina to 15, 16, 17, they're already on marijuana and fentanyl. They're already popping mollies. They're already going in the closet and getting the opioids tablets. It's already happening. And we all think we're strong enough to beat the drug. When I sold marijuana in my last days of selling, I rolled the blunt for myself and said, let me see what these people see in this marijuana. Being across town, I saw people who sold crack say, let me see why these people come back and buy this crack from me, and eventually become full-blown crack addicts. And it had no discretion. You're talking about politicians, business owners, street people, church people, all hung out across town. All of them. All of them. The women would sell themselves for crack. On every level. Peer pressure and addiction. Now I want to go into this real quick. As I said, Jesus Christ was under pressure every day of his life from the time before he was born. And every day of his life under pressure from disciples that he was supposed to teach about God, trying to tell him how to do things. And he got to sit there like, nigga, didn't I just tell you? But if he had folded, then there would be no book for you to preach about every Sunday. Because you don't preach about no other prophet in the book but Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Although the book is filled with prophets and messengers. fentanyl. This is part 5. Again, I apologize. We are broadcasting on the 19 Report on Facebook and on Jamil Zamir on Facebook and on YouTube. But again, they block the feed. It's always like one person on the feed, and I believe that one person is the guy that's checking me out. Because when I go back into my analytics, I never see that one person on the feed. So I don't know how they get in or what they do, but I want you to look. I want you to see that I'm not a provocateur. I'm not telling people to do anything but protect their family, their homes, their community, themselves. Let's get closer to God. Let's fight for what's right. Let's build some equity in our community, and let's see our children grow up to be successful. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what I've talked about for 30 years. No different. If I wanted to do something off, I know how to get on the dark web. I'm fully aware how to use the dark web. I know how. I've been taught how. If I wanted to be one of those guys to talk all of this other stuff, but it's not necessary. I'll put it right in your face, and you tell me whether I'm right or wrong in what I'm saying. And if I'm wrong, prove it. But we're fighting for our lives now. And unfortunately, most of the people don't even realize we in a fight. They finally getting some money. And as I was saying on yesterday, my calculations in math was off, it was $2,250. It was a simple equation. I just messed it up. But when you offering a person with nothing, who don't care about themselves, their family, their community, and you give them a pill that only costs $5 that they can sell for $50 a pill, the markup is ridiculous. They're going to take the offer. So the fentanyl is created in China, trafficked in Mexico to America, allowed to come into the country, allowed to go into the black community and the white community, but only fought against because they're losing their most intelligent white children to fentanyl abuse. I respect them fighting. And I know that there are people in the black community fighting, but few and far in between, because most of us join into it. So peer pressure. Christ was under peer pressure. What peer pressure does is it takes you out of your element. And if a person can take you out of your element, out of your world, out of where you're comfortable, out of the place you understand, and bring you into their world where they're dominant, they can control you. That's the actions of a pimp. A pimp takes a young girl out of her known environment, bring her to something she's never seen. That is just amazing. Promises her the world and makes her what he wants her to be. There is positive peer pressure, where a person can bring you into a world and help you develop yourself better. But that's few and far in between, because in the positive world, now for you to join a record label or something, you either got to be a homosexual, you got to let them touch on you, rub on you. You can't just be talented. The influence in this world is negative. So at that point where you have lost yourself, what do? You turn to drugs. So in the street, when a child did not want to be a part of that but didn't have a choice in a sense, everybody got a choice, but we're not that strong. My friend Chili C, Charles Counsel from Crosstown, when I first went over Crosstown, my mom used to tell me, don't go over there, don't go over there. But I was going to see my man Chili Chill. We were like this. And the first time I went across town, I'll never forget it. He had a 6-pack of Colt 45, the cans. And he was like, yo, help me drink these. And I pop one off and open it, and he a drink, and I pour it out. I was not going to allow that to influence me. I want my friend, but I'm not going to do what you're doing. I did the same thing with my buddy Calvin Williams. We were behind Wizard World with the old English. And he passed it to me, and I pour it out. I ain't drinking that. And he got very upset. You pouring out my beer? Listen, I'm not going to drink that. But everybody is not like that. Same way with another partner of mine in the hustle who was trying to get me to smoke marijuana. I'm not smoking that. I sell it, but I ain't smoking it. But everybody is not the same. So peer pressure. Mama trying to do everything, trying to prove a point. The child is out there learning from the street. And let me tell you something. You know it's a fact. In the churches, sometimes you leave your children with the minister and he's molesting them. You put them on a basketball team or you put them on a football team, they're either being molested or being influenced to join gangs early. The flash and the flare, it's a psychological game. And if you're ever put in a position where you owe something to one of them, then you're locked in for mostly the rest of your life. And if they ever start whispering in your children's ear, if you tell, I'll kill your mama and your daddy. Now your child is angry at you because you don't see that they're under extreme stress because they made a mistake. I didn't see my children were under all that pressure with what they were all into. And I didn't even figure it out until they told me. Because me, I'm saying no way. The way I talk and the way I move and try to teach them, no way they're going to go against it. It's too clear cut. But they did go against it. Peer pressure and drug abuse. They're hand in hand. Because once a person is taken out, Whitney Houston was a lesbian. The great Whitney Houston had a girlfriend. But at the time they said, if we present you as a lesbian, your records won't sell. They chose for her Bobby Brown. Controversy. And she started doing drugs and died doing drugs. Prince died from fentanyl addiction. Because he couldn't get the prescription, he started buying it off the street. And the actor off The Wire still didn't get his name, Omar something. But they were calling him Omar on the show, I think. And many others. Because when you are taken out of your world, your comfort zone, and have to do what someone else tells you to do, drug abuse is next. So most of our children don't even want to be a part of this world. And the only way they cope with it is try to be tough and do what everybody else is doing. And if we don't create a world better for them to be comfortable in, why should they look to us? Why should they believe in a God we talk about when we can't even see they are suffering? What God would leave a person in a condition suffering in their mind, knowing that they're suffering? Let's go into the psychological part of it. We're not going to be long. Yes. Uh-oh. Yeah. I want to do this first. Let's go to Proverbs. I want you to see how much warnings we receive about not giving in to peer pressure in this book that we call Bible. We're going to read about 5 of them as I'm talking. Proverbs 13:20 says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. That's talking about peer pressure. The choices that we make in life. Now, I had a subject up about peer pressure and I lost it and I knew I was going to lose it. Y'all give me a minute because I wanted it so bad. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, and I apologize for that. But I wanted that. I wanted that so bad. But I want to read this real quickly about avoiding peer pressure before I show you this quick video. Because I want us to understand the power of this drug fentanyl. That this is the last set of statins or drugs that they're going to introduce to society. And from here on out, every drug will be specifically designed, just as C-19 was specifically designed to leave not only long-term issues, but to morph itself into something else that the drugs that are given will never be able to stop it. So I have a son that's suffering tremendously from COVID. It's attacking his thyroids. I have a friend who just almost died from COVID, went blind, coughing up black mucus, down for 5 weeks, and so bad that DHEC wanted to study his case to find out what do you call it? I can't think of it right now. What type of COVID was it? And my daughter is suffering from what is called long-term COVID. After getting over the COVID, she lost her sense of smell and everything smells rotten. So she's lost about 15 to 20 pounds because she can't eat, drinking inshores and trying to eat cereal. She tried to stuff down food and throw it back up. Specifically designed, as the fentanyl is specifically designed, but it was designed to affect us a little at a time, and the black market got a hold of it, and now you're getting 80% fentanyl, 30% fentanyl that you can buy one pill, cut it into 4 pieces, and snort it throughout the day and stay high all day. And if you try to get off of fentanyl, when you relapse, because you will, that one dose will be a hot shot because now your body is not able to deal with the drug and you die. Because fentanyl shuts down every organ in the body. It's trying to relax you from pain. Peer pressure. When faced with overt or indirect pressure to do something you're not sure about, try using the following strategies. Give yourself permission to avoid people or situations that don't feel right, and leave a situation that becomes uncomfortable. I did it all my life. I had friends that I loved, man. When it was time to walk away, I walked away. When it was time to walk away from marijuana, I got 3 warnings that SLED was going to bust me. When the 3rd one came and I saw them in a vision with their foot on my neck and my children crying for me, I walked away. When you got to have the power to say, it's time to go. Recognize unhealthy dynamics. It's not okay for others to pressure, force, or trick you into doing things you don't want to do. Or for others to make threats if you don't give in. Does that sound familiar? You don't join up with us, nigga, we gonna kill your whole family, nigga. We gonna beat you up every day. It's not all right, man. You got one life. So here's what we have to do in terms of peer pressure. We have to match force with force. And we have to understand that we are now in a world where people are tough. They say, be dangerous, be dangerous. Well, damn it, you be dangerous. If they're dangerous, you be dangerous. Today is a good day to die and a good day to kill. That kind of mindset we got to put in the minds of our children. That's how Jesus thought. That's why he gave himself up to death, because he knew after this, y'all gonna die. How many of our so-called Christians and religious and people in positions of power are willing to sacrifice their life like this Jesus that we claim to love and emulate for the sake of the future? Not many, because they want to live forever to enjoy the riches that they hustle out of people with false promises. You can't promise nobody nothing. Only God can do that. Are you crazy enough to think you can put your hand on somebody and heal them from something? Only God can do that. A master surgeon cannot save your life if God does not intervene and help your body to heal. Let's put things into perspective so that we won't allow our children to succumb to peer pressure so easily. Because listen to what I'm saying. Once you are under pressure, you have to do something to alleviate the pressure. And you alleviate the pressure by finding a drug that will satisfy your desire to forget. That's what drugs do. I'm hurting. I take a goody powder. I forget that I'm hurting. Still hurting, but I forgot because I don't feel the pain no more. A blessing and a curse. My L7 disc in my back is totally destroyed. I took shots in my back for almost 3 years. I was doing construction, and because I didn't feel the pain, I did not realize I was still damaging my back. So now I don't take the shot. I take the pain because the pain tells me, go sit your behind down. What I'm saying, we have to teach our children, if you're over here and you want to do music, then you work with the people who do music. And if you go somewhere where you enjoying yourself, you got a party going on and somebody comes there thinking that they're the biggest, the best, the baddest, then if one died, then damn it, everybody go. But you will not destroy what we're trying to do and try to bring us into your world. It's all about survival of the fittest. Like-minded people have to unite together to protect their families, themselves, their communities. Otherwise, these little guys going to be coming in, and they're coming in with the intentions of doing dirt. And they're renting these homes. These homes are being rented to them by older people who live over here and don't care about you. So they put somebody next to you that's been troubled from day one. All they want is money. And you got a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old putting you under peer pressure, making you afraid to stand up for your family and your community. How does that sound to you? How are your children going to look at you? You better off dead. My dad died fighting for my community. Sorry I got to give it to you this way, but I'm showing you what fentanyl is going to do. Fentanyl is going to give these young boys a whole hell of a lot of courage because heroin did it. Marijuana did it. Liquor did it. You will rarely find a sober shooter. You will rarely find a person totally sober that commits a crime. The only ones that can do that, they have psychological issues. It's a mental issue that makes you unafraid. I'm going to look it up and try to post it up. Fentanyl. Spend time with people who respect your decisions and won't put unfair pressure on you to conform. See, we admire people. We think because they got money, they're happy. We want to be what they are. But Almighty God makes you different when you pray, when you submit to his will. One of the things we're taught in Islam is to lower your gaze. I don't fantasize about what the next man have. That ain't mine. I don't get starstruck. Running up the star. I don't, thank Almighty God, I don't do that. I see your car and all decked out. Oh, that's nice. I'm gone. Unless I'm at a car show. Lower your gaze. And the things in the world will not influence you to desire them and desire something that you can't afford. Because when you are depressed, you look for relief in liquor, cigarettes, marijuana, and stronger drugs. Sex. Some people find relief in fighting and shooting. They get a big release from that. Remember that you can't and don't have to please everyone or be liked by everyone. I've told you this every day of my life. People not liking you is no big deal. As long as they're not threatening your life or running around talking negative about you, so what? So what you can't hang over here with the politics? So what? I don't like you anyway. Your job is to do your job, and that's it. You don't have to like me. Just do your job. So what you can't hang over here with all these upper echelon folk, man? We can have fun on our level, young people. You don't have to go outside of your character to join on to nobody else. Make your own comfortable world with morals and rules and respect. I'm telling you, the way things are going now, there are no rules. There are no morals. And the only way you will survive in this is through drug abuse. When people or situations that make you feel pressure are not avoidable, listen to it. I was in a situation, my family was in a situation where it was unavoidable. When people or situations that make you feel pressure are not avoidable, try the delay tactics. Give yourself time to think about your decisions instead of giving an immediate answer. Let me think about that. Can I get back to you? Or check back with me in an hour. That's what my wife always tells me. Sometimes I answer too quick. Tell him you'll get back to him in a few days. Calm yourself. It's okay to use an excuse if the truth is too challenging. I do it all. See, listen. I could tell you, Negro, I don't even want to hang around you. Or I could say, man, I feel so bad today. I ain't going nowhere, bro. And that fixes the problem right there. We're talking about how to avoid the pressure in our inner self that will cause us to have to take something to relieve the pressure. Take a friend who supports you along with you if you're going to be in a pressure-filled situation, and let them know what your intentions are. War tactics. Take somebody with you. If this nigga pop it off, we popping it off. Period. We not running. We fighting today, because if we run, we're going to have to fight tomorrow. I'm telling you where we're headed. Satan did this to us. Satan did this to our children. Satan made them think scheming and scamming and robbing and dealing is good. And we've been through this over and over. I showed you something from 1986. It's 2022, and we're still going through the same vicissitudes of life with no change. Satan did that. That wasn't a choice. Satan's intention in the Bible being in the garden with Adam and Eve in the Holy Land, God allowed him in. His job was to take you out of holiness into hell, to give you a choice. What did it say in the book? There are two trees, the tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I hope that you will choose the tree of life. I can protect you there. But if you choose the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you got to go through the evil that you chose. What you started, you got to finish. And thinking that this will only affect you is a mistake, because if you shoot somebody and go home, they shooting the whole house. I'm hurting for my young people, and I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed, because we have no connection to our past. So we think that our past is drill music, basketball, football, and you got these older niggas who don't tell you no different. Don't try to fix nothing. They just trying to hold on to their children and let their children be the example of what we're supposed to be thinking, that their children will not be influenced by the world. Listen, this virus, and I ain't talking about COVID, I'm talking about the virus of desire. It's out. And it's touching black, white, red, brown, yellow, everybody. This virus called drugs, this virus called fentanyl. I want to play a clip for you real quick before we go. I think I read them all. Stand up. Stand up. Listen to this. And I did this. I did this myself and got my ass whipped. But I did it. Stand up for others when you see them being pressured. Bystander intervention. Stepping in to help out when you see someone in trouble can be an effective way to support others and send a message. If you don't feel comfortable directly confronting the person doing the pressure, try distracting them or inviting the person being pressured to do something else. A friend of mine, we were three friends, but he was pressuring the guy, pushing on him, making him, and I said, man, stop letting him do that to you. And he said, I'll do it to you. And I said, if you do it to me, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. He mushed me in my head. I turned around and socked him in the mouth. Very good hit. Solid blow. But he was stronger. He overpowered me. I didn't regret it at all. I'd do it again today. Anybody will tell you I've lost fights, but I won some too. We got to fight, man. Remember, Jesus had to run. Jesus had to go from city to city. He had to hide. Was he a punk? No. He was murdered. He gave up his life. Was he a punk? No. All right. I want to go into this real quickly. The person who was online just got offline, so I guess they're satisfied with what they're hearing. That's good. I hope y'all will let me go back through and really do what I want to do. But I want to play this real quickly. And then we're going to close out.
I was so shocked. I was so shocked.
It was not supposed to happen again, but 19-year-old Nick Jansen attended his second funeral in just 5 months, all because of a toxic opioid he calls pure evil. Fentanyl killed his 20-year-old brother Brandon in March, and he's certain it killed his girlfriend Guinevere Stadden last month.
It just grabs hold of your mind. It destroys you, and you can't beat it. Like, people think, oh, I'm going to try this once, and they think they're invincible to addiction, and they think they can just get around it, and they think they're better than other people. They think they can just, they don't think they're like everyone else. They think, oh, I'm stronger than them. But that's not the case. The drug doesn't care who you are. It's going to take you. And I believe that's what happened to her.
His grief and frustration compounded by the fact that his 16-year-old girlfriend knew the danger and the devastation his brother's death caused. This was Stadden at Brandon's funeral.
She was supporting me through the whole thing. She was holding me, saying, this is enough.
Jensen says after his brother died, she promised to stop using.
She told me numerous things that made me feel hopeful that this is the end of this is the only bitter pill that I'm going to have to swallow with this fentanyl crisis in my circle of family and loved ones.
But Guinevere Stadden's willpower was no match for the draw of fentanyl. Nick Jansen says he watched with worry how quickly she got hooked and how quickly she got sick whenever she tried to quit. Guinevere Stadden was found unresponsive in a coffee shop bathroom in Port Moody on August 7th. The girl who told friends and family she was immune to overdose wasn't.
Never try it, because it's going to take you. You're not invincible to it. It's going to affect you like it affects everyone else, and there's no getting around it.
Now he's decided to become an advocate for addicts with the foundation his family started in his brother's name, to lobby for more treatment beds so he doesn't have to go to any more funerals. Natalie Clancy, CBC News, Port Moody, British Columbia.
All right. I think, yeah. Let me get back over here. To the stream. And let me X off of this. Let me get myself back up here. I'm sorry. Yeah, there I go. I want to close out, as I say all the time. Okay. Let me get this picture up here. I don't know what's wrong with it. There we go. There we go. As I say all the time, the new way to do drugs is to look like you're not doing drugs. Actually, that was the way of the elite all their life. They would snort coke. They said that was the rich man drug, the preppy drug. They could look sharp, look good, and not look like they were addicts. They didn't smell like marijuana, like our children do. They didn't smell like alcohol. So fentanyl is a preppy drug. And the one thing that our children love to do is to follow something that we think is greater than ourselves, peer pressure. We did it. So they are going to accept this new synthetic drug. And that is, as it is killing them right before our eyes, we won't know it until they're dead. I'm not talking to you from my personal opinion. I'm telling you what God is telling me to tell you. We're in trouble. I thank you for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Peer pressure. Watch your children. Mothers who think you don't need no man. If you have a male child, you're being selfish. And if you have a female child, you're being selfish. You might not need a man, but they might need one. And not just any man, but someone who is teaching them something of value. So choose wisely. Choose wisely. And stop trying to prove selfish points, that you can do it yourself, that you're broken. I'm broken. Our parents mistreated us in ways that we can't even explain. They think they did a super duper job. They did in taking care of us and feeding us and making sure that we survived. But when it came to the mental stability, esteem, caring, no. And the only time we got that is if we were somebody playing basketball or something. And if we failed at that, we were back to being nothing. I lived that. So we got to think better and do better. Everybody's not going to be rich. And I'll be damned if I'm going to praise a rich drug dealer that's destroying the community. I don't care how good you look. That's your life. You live it. That's fine. Make your money. I did it. But I did it with marijuana because I didn't see the harm in it at the time. It was Reggie. You got a little buzz. There wasn't nobody killing nobody with the weed that I was selling. But it's different now. Genetically modified and deadly. Thank you for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir, Manning, South Carolina. Please stay tuned tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to try to do these 7-part series in 7 parts. I have been reaching out to people to help me with this, but they are not responding back. And I want to tell you something about Manning, South Carolina. Podcasting and video podcasting is just really becoming popular. And everybody think they're going to be the next Oprah Winfrey, the next, drink champs. Everybody wants to be a superstar, but they want to do it on their own. That's Manning. That's why the rap world will never succeed here. Because while they pretend and act like they are unified, they're lying to themselves and to each other. They want to be the star. And nobody's buying nothing from nobody. If everybody's selling music, who the hell? Everybody's selling peanut butter. Who's going to buy the peanut butter? Everybody got it. You're supposed to break things up and become successful doing different things and circulating that money in the community over and over. You buy this from me. I buy this from you. You buy that from them. We get that from him. They get this from us. And in the midst of our illusions and confusions, we got to stay high. And in the midst of staying high, we're going to make opposition that ain't even there. So you're going to be shooting and killing and fighting. And if I ask you why, you couldn't answer the question. There is no real success. The only success around you is organized success. You go work at Burger King, McDonald's, what is the name of the place? Continental. You get a position in the town because those things are organized. Other than that, what are we going to do? If you put on an event, what's going to happen? Violence, because you're going to let everybody do whatever they want to do. And if you try to stop that, you got to pay so much money to security to have an event. You can't keep that going on forever. The only way you all are surviving is because you have another income, whether it's legitimate or illegitimate. Without that income, you would be nobody. Without that income, you would have to go to work. So enjoy your hustle, but understand that everything comes to an end. Jamil Salib Zamir, Manning, South Carolina.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions.
Nineteen.